Welcome to another amazing documentary, Alien Bible with Evidence. I get asked a lot about the Bible because people don't understand it, I know why, and for me I can see it clear as day, but I have been researching 40 plus years. The Bible is a collection of stories from older times mostly. There are events in the Bible, such as Jesus, that is not copied from older texts. But for this documentary, I'll go through the older stuff. Sadly, the Bible, when copying the older texts, didn't have all the dates correct. This means they mixed and matched what they thought was going on at the time. This is where all the problems start. As far as I know, this will be the only time anyone has actually corrected the Bible. This is the video you can tell your friends about, the video that changed history. There are many versions of the Bible, all of them changed by man. So we will use the Bible that is the closest to the Hebrew Bible. This Bible is called Young's Literal Bible. I'm going to talking a lot about the alien race called gods. You might know their name here on Earth, Anunnaki. If you're unsure who they are or want to see evidence they are the gods in the Bible, simply visit my website, ourtruehistory.co.uk, and scroll down on the home page until you see "Click here, watch that video."
If you are new to our True History videos, he has been doing this for over 40 years and is the foremost expert. Feel free to watch his videos. He has solved with evidence many of the mysteries you thought would never be solved. ourtruehistory.co.uk.
In the Young's Literal Bible, the very first line is, "In the beginning of God's preparing the heavens and the earth." I know you're thinking, no, it was God creating heaven and earth. No, it was actually in the beginning of God's preparing the heavens and the earth. This is around 4.6 billion years ago. I'll read parts of the Bible then with evidence. I'll show what it means. In the beginning of God's preparing the heavens and the earth. 2. The earth hath existed waste and void, and darkness is on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God fluttering on the face of the waters. 3. And God saith, Let light be, and light is. Everyone thinks that means God created the heaven and earth. No, it doesn't even mean the Anunnaki created heaven and earth, nor does it mean the Anunnaki gods were preparing earth. What it does mean is the empty void in space was there before any planets. The gods preparing are the planets. The Anunnaki texts refer to the planets as gods, just like their own race name. The Anunnaki gods describe the planets as alive with feelings and thoughts. How can I be so sure? Simple, here in the British Museum are the tablets we call Enuma Elish, the Epic of Creation, translated by L.W. King. In the Eridu Genesis translations, in the beginning there was only Namu, the primeval sea. The Eridu Genesis is the tablet with the oldest known story, along with the Enuma Elish. But how can I say that the stories are the same? The Young's Bible says, "In the beginning of God's preparing the heavens and the earth." And yet I'm saying, in the beginning there was only Namu, the primeval sea. It's because the Young's Bible is setting up the scene, an empty void, preparing for the arrival of gods. I can prove this. The very next wording in the Young's Bible is, "The earth hath existed waste and void, and darkness is on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God fluttering on the face of the waters." Now look at Eridu Genesis, or the Enuma Elish, or even the Norse story. They all say there was a void with water. At this point there was no sun, so the water would have been ice. Norse, "In the beginning there was only Ginnungagap, the great primordial void." To the north of Ginnungagap lay the icy realm of Niflheim, filled with freezing rivers and glaciers. Eridu Genesis, "In the beginning there was only Namu, the primeval sea." Enuma Elish, "When in the height heaven was not named, and the earth beneath did not yet bear a name, and the primeval Apsu." I believe Apsu was the sun. Bear with me, you'll get all the answers. I just need to break it down one by one. Apsu, the sun, could have been made of heavy water. That is a form of water where the hydrogen atoms are replaced with deuterium, an isotope of hydrogen with one proton and one neutron. Heavy water is less common but can be found in space. Let's read the texts again. Sorry, I know I keep going back to them, but it's easier for us to understand. From the Enuma Elish, when in the height heaven was not named, and the earth beneath did not yet bear a name, and the primeval Apsu who begat them, and Chaos, Tiamat, the mother of them both, their waters were mingled together, and no field was formed, no marsh was to be seen. When of the gods none had been called into being, I'll show they called planets gods a bit later. Young's Bible, the earth hath existed waste and void, and darkness is on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God fluttering on the face of the waters. So both of them agree there was waters in the void, we know now as heaven. Back to the Enuma Elish. To Tien above the heaven was not named, and beneath the earth bore no name, and the primeval Apsu, who begat them, and Mumu and Tiamat, the mother of them all, their waters were mingled together, and no field was formed, no marsh seen, when no one of the gods had been called into being, and none bore a name, and no destinies were fixed. Then were created the gods in the midst of heaven, Lakmu and Lakamu were called into being. Ages increased. Can you see the waters mingled together to create something? Tiamat was an ice planet, and Mumu was waters. Their waters mingled together to create what? Then were created the gods in the midst of heaven, Lakmu and Lakamu were called into being. Lakmu and Lakamu were Mars and Venus. Let's read from the first tablet in the Morahen collection about Mars. This will prove we are talking about gods as planets, way before the Anunnaki were in our solar system. We will hear about Enki and 49 other Anunnaki gods as they travel in their craft towards Earth, but they had used too much water, pushing the asteroids out of the way to get past the asteroid belt, so they needed more water. The next planet they could see was Mars, Lamu.
Amid Anzu's excitement, the alert went off. For the way to having fashioned, excessive waters were eaten. Waters were insufficient to keep the chariot's flaming stones hydrated for the rest of the journey. They could see the sun's rays reflected in the sixth planet's profound darkness. He was asking for Anzu. Enki is assisting Lamu, who has water. Do you want to ride the clown chariot over there? Anzu, the chariot, maneuvered it deftly toward Lamu, reaching the celestial god and forming a circle around it. Anzu believes that the planet's attraction is too easy to handle, and that its network could be more robust.
So far we have a void that had water in. The sun was created from the waters. But what do the other versions of the Bible say about this event? King James Version, KJV, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. New International Version, NIV, now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. New American Standard Bible, NASB, the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. English Standard Version, ESV, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. New Revised Standard Version, NRSV, the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. New Living Translation, NLT, the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. As you can see, they added and changed things, but they mostly all agree the void had the waters, and from the waters we got the sun and planets, called gods. Young's Bible, and God saith, let light be, and light is. That is the last part before the Bible gets the older stories wrong. Yes, there was a sun, But let me read the rest. 3, and God saith, Let light be, and light is. 4, and God seeth the light that it is good, and God separateth between the light and the darkness. 5, and God calleth to the light day, and to the darkness he hath called night. And there is an evening, and there is a morning, day 1. 6, and God saith, Let an expanse be in the midst of the waters, and let it be separating between waters and waters. 7, and God maketh the expanse, and it separateth between the waters which are under the expanse, and the waters which are above the expanse. And it is so. 8, and God calleth to the expanse heavens, and there is an evening, and there is a morning, day 2. If I may just break this down to show you the Bible has taken the start of our solar system some 4.6 billion years ago, then added stories from just 450,000 years ago, I'll show you why. This part belongs with the newer stories, not 4.6 billion years ago. 4, and God seeth the light that it is good, and God separateth between the light and the darkness. 5, and God calleth to the light day, and to the darkness he hath called night. And there is an evening, and there is a morning, day 1. Have a listen to the Moorhen tablets. You'll see this part was talking about the Anunnaki when they arrived here on Earth, 4.6 billion later than the forming of the sun and planets.
Their first day on Earth included both an evening and a morning. By daylight, Ea had already considered the occurrences. He was considering how to divide the oceans. Engur fashioned the master from the beautiful waters to provide drinking water. He walked to the snake pond with Alalu, thinking about its warm waters. Nasty snakes were spreading in the pond. Engur informed Ea of this. Ea then reflected on a large amount of rainfall he had collected in the marshlands. He named the reed thicket he was directing and delegated wetland maintenance to Enbilulu. Enkidu, who was in charge of the ditch and dike, constructed a boundary so that the marshes could create a collection area for the rainwater. As a result, marsh waters and pleasant waters were separated from the waters above and below. The second day on Earth occurred between the hours of dusk and dawn.
Let that sink in. Enki separated the waters on the first day. This means the first day was not 4.6 billion years ago. This means the Bible has mixed bits up. Here is what the Bible says is this, Young's Bible. And God saith, Let the waters under the heavens be collected unto one place, and let the dry land be seen. And it is so. King James Version, KJV. And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. New International Version, NIV. And God said, Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. New American Standard Bible, NASB. Then God said, Let the waters below the heavens be gathered into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. English Standard Version, ESV. And God said, Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. New Living Translation, NLT. Then God said, Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear. And that is what happened. New Revised Standard Version, NRSV. And God said, Let the waters under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. Clearly that was day 1, but let me read out day 2. Just so that you know the Bible really had mixed up the Genesis story from the planets forming and Anunnaki arriving on Earth, a difference of around 4.6 billion years. But what does day 2 say in the Bible compared to day 2 in the text from the Anunnaki gods? Here is day 2 from the tablets that the Rothschilds own, which are in the Columbia University, translated by George Moorhen.
As soon as sundawn was declared, the hero accomplished the chores assigned to him. Alalu Ea's steps were aimed toward the grass and trees area. Herbs and fruits of various kinds grow on everything in the orchard. Ea posed the following inquiries to his vizier Isimud. What exactly is this plant? What exactly is that plant? He was curious. Isimud, a learned man, could tell what food grew well. He ripped a fruit from a honey plant for Ea. In his remarks to Ea, he ate one fruit and Ea ate one fruit. The hero, the guru, is given power over the food that grows due to his excellent reputation. As a result, the hero was given drink and nourishment, but he was unsatisfied.
So on the second day in the tablets that predate the Bible, it looks like Enki was learning and teaching the other gods about plants and trees. This is what Young's literal Bible says about day 2. And God saith, Let the earth yield tender grass, herb sowing seed, fruit tree, whose seed is in itself, making fruit after its kind on the earth. And it is so. And the earth bringeth forth tender grass, herb sowing seed after its kind, and tree making fruit, whose seed is in itself after its kind. And God seeth that it is good. I think you can see where this is going. I'll read one more out, but yeah, they are all the same.
Long before the stories in the Bible, a different tale of creation was etched in the oldest known tablets of humanity. This is our true history. Meet the Anunnaki, the gods who came to Earth from a distant world. They shaped our existence and left their mark on history. Unlike any other children's book, our true history reveals the hidden truths. The Anunnaki's quest for gold in Africa, Enki, the kind-hearted god, defying his brother Enlil to save Noah from the Great Flood, and how Adam and Eve's origins trace back to these celestial beings. Each page is not just a story, but a gateway to evidence. Discover the links and dive into the ancient tablets that predate the Bible, proving these incredible events. Explore our true history, now available on Amazon. It's time to discover the story that was always meant to be told.
The third day on earth occurred between the hours of dusk and dawn. The winds died down on the fourth day, and the waves had no effect on the chariot, allowing the chariot's tools to be brought and the encampment's dwellings to be built. This was given by Ea. In charge of mold and brickmaking, Kula assigned Ea to make clay bricks and give Mushdamu the order to build foundations and dwellings. The sun shone all day brightly, generating the day's brightness. By sunset, Kingu, one of the heavenly gods, was supposed to represent the earth's moon, which casts a pale light on earth and a lesser light to rule the night when it is complete.
Young's Bible. And God saith, Let luminaries be in the expanse of the heavens, to make a separation between the day and the night. Then they have been for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And they have been for luminaries in the expanse of the heavens, to give light upon the earth. And it is so. And God maketh the 2 great luminaries, the great luminary for the rule of the day, and the small luminary, and the stars, and for the rule of the night. And God giveth them in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth, and to rule over day and over night, and to make a separation between the light and the darkness. And God seeth that it is good. So far we have the Bible telling us about the start of our solar system, mixed in with the first 7 days of the Anunnaki arriving here on Earth. In the Bible it says man was created on the 6th day. That is not correct. Again, it's mixed it up. Here is what the Bible says about the 6th day, and then what the tablets say. And God saith, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after its kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after its kind. And it is so. And God maketh the beast of the earth after its kind, and the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing of the ground after its kind. And God seeth that it is good. And God saith, Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over fish of the sea, and over fowl of the heavens, and over cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that is creeping on the earth. And God prepareth the man in his image. In the image of God he prepared him, a male and a female he prepared them. And God blesseth them, and God saith to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and rule over fish of the sea, and over fowl of the heavens, and over every living thing that is creeping upon the earth. And God saith, Lo, I have given to you every herb sowing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree sowing seed. To you it is for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the heavens, and to every creeping thing on the earth, in which is breath of life, every green herb is for food. And it is so. And God seeth all that he hath done, and lo, very good. And there is an evening, and there is a morning. Day the 6th.
On the 6th day, Ea Ningisi gave the order to build a reed boat. It is critical to assess the extent of the swamplands and the distance between the marshes. Ulmarsh, the one who knows what swarms in the oceans and who amid the birds that soar. Enki relied on Ulmarsh to help him distinguish between good and evil. The Ulmarsh were unaware of many creatures that swam in the oceans and take flight in the air. Their sheer numbers were astounding. The carp were large and swimming among the undesirables. Ea summoned Enbilulu, master of the marshlands, Enkimdu, commander of the ditch and dike. He spoke to them in the marshlands to build a barrier. Catching fish with the help of canebrakes and green reeds, a trap for carp that could not escape from a net was set up there. No bird suitable for consumption could escape from its net. For the heroes given, fish and poultry were separated into gorgeous varieties. It was now the morning after the 6th day on earth had ended. On the 6th day, each of the orchard's creatures began keeping score. Enuosag to his task of distinguishing between what creeps and what walks on foot. Their personalities left Enuosag stunned, and he told Ea about the ferocity of their wildness. Mushdamu was summoned by Ea Kula, who issued the following urgent orders. The houses will be completed by the evening, and a fence will surround them for security. The warriors who took up the assignments quickly laid bricks on the foundations. The roofing was made of reeds, while the fencing was made of felled trees. A beam that kills from the chariot carried over a speaker that words beams to the house he made for Ea, Anzu. Everything Ea, Alalu, and Anzu did was positive in light of their acts. The camp was completed by the evening. The heroes gathered for the evening. The 6th day has nighttime and morning hours.
So, where did the Bible get the creation of man from? And why was it stuck in the middle of the Anunnaki create a camp? Remember, when the Bible was written, any verbal or tablets didn't have dates on them, so logic would say, put the tablet in where it's also talking about animals, so the animal part was correct, it's just the creation of man. The Anunnaki didn't create man until about 150,000 Earth years later. That's only about 6 to 7 months of their time. How can I prove the Anunnaki didn't suddenly create humans 450,000 years ago when they arrived? First, I need to show they did arrive at that point in time. The Anunnaki called their year a shah. We call our year a year. So one orbit for their home planet was called a shah. In Sumerian, the term sar, sometimes spelled shah, in Sumerian mathematics, sar represents a large unit of measurement. It typically corresponds to a numerical value of 3,660 squared, reflecting the Sumerians' use of a sexagesimal base 60 numbering system. Sexagesimal system. The Sumerians developed a complex numerical system based on 60, which greatly influenced their mathematics and astronomy. The Sayar, as 3,660, was part of this system. Sar appears in various administrative and astronomical records from ancient Mesopotamia. It was used in a broad sense to denote completeness or totality, especially in large-scale computations or descriptions, so we have 3,600 Earth years for one completeness, an orbit. This has been covered in my other videos. Please visit ourtruehistory.co.uk. But how can we say that the Anunnaki gods came here 450,000 Earth years ago? There is some debate about the time. Some claim 450,000, while others have a different time frame. These records were discovered through purposeful excavations in Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers, referring to the Tigris and Euphrates in present-day Iraq, around 150 years ago. Clay tablets were unearthed and distributed to major museums worldwide. In 1876, George Smith of the British Museum pieced together broken tablets from the Royal Library of Nineveh, the Assyrian capital, and published the Chaldean Genesis, revealing that the biblical tale of creation was first written in Mesopotamia millennia earlier. The Anunnaki are said to have arrived on Earth 120 SARS, or 432,000 Earth years, before the deluge from Nibiru. An Akkadian text, the mother tongue of the Babylonians, Assyrians, and Hebrews, called Atrahasis, describes in detail the reasons for the Anunnaki's arrival on Earth, primarily for gold mining. For 40 SARS, the Anunnaki were sent to the Abzu, present-day Africa, to mine for gold. The life cycles of the Anunnaki were such that, in human terms, they were practically immortal. Some of the cuneiform writings from Sumerian culture can be seen at the Metropolitan Museum in New York, the Brooklyn Museum in New York, and the British Museum in London. Regardless if it's 450,000 or 432,000, that is not billions of years. So how can I show our solar system was formed 4.6 billion years ago? This age is based on a variety of scientific evidence, including radiometric age dating. The most reliable method for dating the formation of the solar system is radiometric dating of meteorites. These space rocks are considered to be remnants from the early solar system that have remained relatively unchanged. The oldest meteorites, specifically chondrites, have been dated to about 4.56 billion years ago using isotopic dating techniques. Formation of the Sun, which contains more than 99% of the mass in the solar system, is believed to have formed from the gravitational collapse of a region within a large molecular cloud of possible heavy water in a gas form. This collapse led to the formation of a protostar, which eventually ignited nuclear fusion in its core, giving birth to our Sun. Following the formation of the Sun, the remaining material in the protoplanetary disk coalesced to form the planets, moons, asteroids, and other bodies within the solar system. This process took place over a few tens of millions of years. Rocks brought back from the Moon by the Apollo missions have been dated to around 4.5 billion years, providing further evidence for the age of the solar system. There we have it. Now I just need to prove the Anunnaki were here for a long time before creating humans. In the tablets in the British Museum called Atrahasis, we have the story of the Igigi, the young gods, sons of gods you might know them as from the Bible. The story is very clear. The Igigi were here working for a long time, longer than the 5 days it says in the Bible, because the Igigi were working hard mining. They complained and the result was Enki creating man. This is clearly a long time after the 5 days, meaning on the 6th day man was not created, and the Bible added it just like I said. Here is the translation. Made the Igigi bear the workload. The gods had to dig out canals, had to clear channels, the lifelines of the land. The Igigi had to dig out canals, had to clear channels, the lifelines of the land. The gods dug out the Tigris River, bed, and then dug out the Euphrates. In the deep, they set up there, the Apsu of the land, inside it, raised its top. Of all the mountains, they were counting the years of loads. The great marsh, they were counting the years of loads. For 3 full years they bore the excess. Hard work, night and day. They groaned and blamed each other, grumbled over the masses of excavated soil. Let us confront the Chamberlain, and get him to relieve us of our hard work. Come, let us carry the Lord, the Counselor of Gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Elil, the Counselor of Gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Then Aliyah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods his brothers, gap of about 8 lines. Come, let us carry the Counselor of Gods, the warrior, from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Elil, the Counselor of Gods, the warrior, from his dwelling. Now, cry battle. Let us mix fight with battle. The gods listened to his speech, set fire to their tools, put aside their spades for fire, their loads for the fire god. They flared up. When they reached the gate of warrior Elil's dwelling, as you can see, they even say they worked for 3,600 years. Remember, this is not 3,600 directly after they arrived. This is 3,600 years after they started mining in South Africa. There was a period before the Igigi even arrived on Earth. So let's read the part in the same Atrahasis where Enki comes up with the idea to create man to help the Igigi in the mines. Remember, you are listening to a race that is talking about genetically modifying a hominid species at a time when only a handful of people could read or write. Who is in charge of the rabble? Who is in charge of the fighting? Which god started the war? A rabble was running around Elil's door. Gap of uncertain length. SBV, Ea made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Why are we blaming them? Their work was too hard. Their trouble was too much. Every day the earth resounded. The warning signal was loud enough. We kept hearing the noise. There is Belet Ili, the womb goddess, is present. Let her create primeval man, so that he may bear the yoke, the work of Elil. Let man bear the load of the gods. Gap. Obi. Belet Ili, the womb goddess, is present. Let the womb goddess create offspring, and let man bear the load of the gods. They called up the goddess, asked the midwife of the gods, wise mummy, you are the womb goddess, to be the creator of mankind. Create primeval man, that he may bear the yoke. Let him bear the yoke, the work of Elil. Let man bear the load of the gods. Nintu made her voice heard and spoke to the great gods. It is not proper for me to make him. The work is Enki's. He makes everything pure. If he gives me clay, then I will do it. I would suggest everyone read the full texts, but clearly we can see this event that sparked the idea to create man was not done after 5 days.
Let's have some fun. What does the Bible say about the seventh day? You know, the day that we all rest. Because an almighty God got tired, or did he? I've proven in this and other videos, the Anunnaki were the gods in the Bible. So let's look at the seventh day from the Bible. Then the tablets translated the Moora hens, Young's literal Bible. And God completeth by the seventh day his work which he hath made, and ceaseth by the seventh day from all his work which he hath made. And God blesseth the seventh day, and sanctifieth it, for in it he hath ceased from all his work which God had prepared for making. These are births of the heavens and of the earth in their being prepared, in the day of Jehovah God's making earth and heavens. And now the Moorhen translations.
On the seventh day, the heroes of the encampment gathered. They overheard Ea declare to them, "We have taken a risky, dangerous road from Nibiru to the seventh planet. We landed on Earth, did much good, and established an encampment. Today should be a day of relaxation, and the seventh day should always be a day of rest. The phrase Eridu should now be replaced with home in the far away, which means the same thing."
To sum up, the Bible has mixed the creation of our solar system with the first 7 days the Anunnaki were here on Earth. The Bible also added the creation of man, which didn't happen until way later. If you are interested, I'll be going through the Bible and straightening it out so everyone can understand the time frames, etc. For example, I've already done a documentary on the Book of Revelations where I show the events have already happened. In fact, I've got over 1,000 video documentaries made by myself using my own research. If you want to see any of them, please visit ourtruehistory.co.uk. Thank you for your support. Our True History.